What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad as we get ready for the college football playoff. We're going to be doing top 10 shows of the top teams here, leading off with number one, Michigan. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. It was great to see the selection show, and man, it was a little shocking, but also kind of not. But yeah, we're gonna break them down. Top 10 prospects from all four playoff teams as we get you ready, leading right up until January 1 for the Rose Bowl and the semifinals there. I can't wait. Both matchups are fantastic. So it's gonna be gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I love that they went with Alabama. I feel so terrible for Florida State fans.
Right.
I truly do. But it was the right decision. But that's a whole other topic.
Right.
Steven says this is going to keep me up now. Steven, this show is for you. My man Steven's a huge Michigan fan. Ryan says, guys, what aren't you ever doing? That is the question.
Great point, Ryan.
That is the question. We're going through our top 10 prospects in the 2024 NFL draft. We're not talking about guys like Will Johnson, who's probably going to be a first rounder in 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Absolute stud, just 2024. Let's jump right into this thing, leading off with J.J. McCarthy, number one, just a straight-up winner with elite intangibles. The Wolverines are 25-1 with McCarthy as their starter. And then you look at his high school career, 36-2. The dude just wins football games. This guy also has the clutch gene, man. His third down stats are as elite as it gets. 73.5 completion percentage, 615 yards, a ridiculous passer rating. In situations of 3rd and 7 or more, McCarthy has a 75-plus completion percentage for 24 first downs and 5 touchdowns. I think McCarthy will likely fall somewhere back end of round 1, early round 2 area. Depending on who you talk to, he's somewhere between QB3 to QB6. It's really up in the air right now. Personally, I'm not the biggest McCarthy guy. I don't necessarily believe just yet, but I definitely think there's an NFL verse where McCarthy could be one of the better quarterbacks to come out of this draft. He is very talented.
His arm talent is definitely there, and he has the size, the frame, to excel at that next level. He looks the part, which sometimes is half the battle. But he may not be the most athletic of the quarterbacks coming out in this draft, and he's certainly not going to run a 4.240, but. Listen, you don't need him to. He has accuracy and the absolute arm strength to get the job done at the next level. And like you said, has an absolute clutch gene. I mean, if anybody's watched any Wolverine game this year, it's evident. And that Ohio State game, I mean, come on. And this guy is definitely, like you said, not my favorite, quarterback prospect either. I think he's going to probably end up being like mid-second round. But I still think he's well-deserved of his kind of ranking right now. So,
yep. Ryan says, is Trotter Jr. the only highly rated linebacker? Linebacker class isn't that great, Ryan, and I do want to show you something that I think is going to make you smile just a tad. But we've been doing top 10 positional rankings to start this show, and we make you guys vote for what position we do. We've done cornerback, edge rusher, and offensive tackle.
Yep.
Ryan, linebacker won the next show.
Let's go.
So we will be covering the linebackers very shortly in the near future, the top 10 linebackers in this draft. Yeah, Ryan. I mean, you've got Barrett Carter, you've got Tommy Eichenberg, Junior Colson from Michigan. We will be talking about very shortly. But I agree, it's not the greatest linebacker class.
True.
Is Trotter Jr. a pass rush guy or a cover guy? He does both really, really well. Those are probably the two areas he really thrives in. Blitzing and just coverage. Extremely good athlete, ridiculous burst and acceleration. Yeah, I mean, Jeremiah Trotter, I think, should be a first-round talent, and I'd be shocked if he's not. And on PFF, like, he's like a third-round guy, which
it's so dumb.
crazy.
It's crazy. I grab him in the third round every chance I get.
Yeah, you beat me with it. And I don't select him because I know it's not realistic.
I know, right? It really does.
I'm the idiot. I'm always the one that gets the L. So anyway,
you keep it real, but you keep those L's.
Jumping into number 2, Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle prospect, just an elite run defender. His ability to play with leverage is his calling card. Really good strength. He should be an effective B-gap defender at the next level. I think his ceiling will be determined by how much more disruptive he can prove himself to be against the pass. We already know he's a gap control defender who can stack the point of attack, but he's kind of boom or bust in that pass rush area. So I think he's a safe bet to hear his name called on day 2. He still has a good bit to go when it comes to having an elite pass rush moveset. But no doubt in my mind, a top 50 player in this draft. Just an absolute stud, man. Love me some Chris Jenkins. Any thoughts?
Yeah, no. This guy came back, for the 2023 season when he easily could have, gotten the draft last year. But listen, he's got a high motor, is great pass rush, strong tackler, and you really see the power he has, especially with his hands. Shedding tackles, chasing down quarterbacks and running backs. He absolutely is somebody that it just has a strong built upper body that absolutely will transfer to the next level. So yeah, I definitely think he's a day tour kind of guy, somebody that I think probably going to end up at a good team. Maybe mid to second, mid to late second round. But I definitely feel like some team's going to get him and just mold him and make him into a household name. Honestly,
yeah, very good talent. Rolling into our number 3 prospect for Michigan, one of my favorite prospects in this entire Junior Colson, 6'3", 247-pound junior linebacker. Just oozes potential, man. Just crazy, rangy run defender with the quickness to get to the ball before blockers can react at the second level. His closing burst is elite. He has just a ridiculous tackle radius, very good strength. Again, he's 247 pounds, but he doesn't move like that. Like he is fast. He wrestles down ball carriers. He's a great tackler. He hits like a sledgehammer. His missed tackle percentage is super, super low. And I think he has just a general excellent feel for working off blockers. Not like Chris Jenkins. I think you could debate if he's a top 50 player in this year's draft. I'm higher on Junior Colson than most. I think he's just a superb athlete that is super underrated. And he led Michigan in tackles and one of the best, arguably the best defense in college football. So that's a little bit on Junior Colson.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This guy is just a disruptor. He constantly plays in that backfield, and has the speed. Like you said, he's a bigger guy, but man, he runs like a 4.5 40, and he can go sideline to sideline. He kind of moves a little bit like a safety, but has that finish and that violence that you need as a consistent tackler. At the linebacking position. So. He really does have a good strength, good burst, especially when blitzing. He just, I feel like sometimes he maybe overcommits, maybe a little bit over aggressive, but I feel like from last year to this year, he certainly has improved on that. So yeah, I know you literally told me about him. God only knows how many months ago. He has just slowly grown on me as one of those guys that I think is just going to be sneaky good in the NFL. I can't wait to kind of see him in these big time games. Honestly, you'll see him. You'll see him in the backfield quite a bit.
Yep. Rolling on to number 4, Blake Corum, running back, poised to be one of the most prominent figures, most talked about figures in the 2024 NFL draft. His determination is off the charts. His agility skills are off the charts. Kind of reminds me of, like, at least his style of play, like a Doug Martin. He kind of has that same energy and physicality. He isn't the tallest at like 5'8", but you look at the frame, he's bigger than that 200. He's more like 210. And again, possesses elite lateral agility, elite quickness for the position. His change of direction is one of the best in the class. I expect Blake Corum to get his name called sometime on day 2. Really fun watch. Didn't have the production like he had in 2022, but man, he was in the end zone all season long. He didn't get the yardage, but he was just, you look at some of those like games. He was the guy. He was the biggest part of that offense. So what are your thoughts on Blake Corum, Ryan?
Yeah, he's honestly, the comparison to Doug Martin is a really good one. He's definitely that workhorse type of running back. Kind of tiny guy, but man, he really is just fluid. And like you said, he may have not gotten the stats, but I feel like Michigan kind of utilized more of a 2 running back set, as they certainly could. But yeah, he has that home run ability to kind of hit that hole with that burst and just boom, gone. So yeah, he's got the agility, the quickness, and yeah, I think he's pretty versatile. You can kind of flash whatever scheme that you're running, zone schemes, power schemes. He seems to be able to kind of fit those both of those. So yeah, I definitely like him. I think he's probably late day 2 kind of guy, maybe. But again, I think there's not a lot of top talent like there was last year in the running back class. So I think he can definitely kind of get in there and get in the mix to be one of these guys that get drafted. And like I said, you're going to get an absolute worker.
Ready for this? Blake Corum has a touchdown in every game this season.
Wow!
In fact, really? Every game.
That's pretty impressive.
Even crazier, he's got at least 2 touchdowns in 9 of the 13 games he's played this year. So he has a knack for getting into that end zone. Mitch is in the house saying, "Let's go, Michigan." He's a huge Michigan fan.
Oh yeah, a little hail to the victors there, Mitch.
Yeah, good luck.
I need it.
Yeah, they're clicking. Rolling into our number 5 prospect from Michigan. This was one of the worst injuries when I was watching Michigan versus Ohio State. Really tough to see. But we're talking about Zach Zinter here, man. Just a massive offensive lineman prospect, 6'6", 315 pounds. His physicality at the point of the attack is as elite as it gets, man. Just checks off a lot of boxes for NFL teams and what they want out of a guard prospect. He moves really well on his feet. He has the range as a pooler. He has very long arms that helps him deliver pop at contact, both in the run game and pass protection. I think this guy has a really high floor and all the makings of a starting guard at the pro level. The knocks on him, he's probably just a guard exclusive prospect, which will probably put a damper on his NFL resume as this guy gets ready for the draft process. That's not the most in-demand position in this draft. But that being said, again, a high floor player that should be a capable starter in basically any scheme you want, thanks to his elite length, great anchor, just natural power. Again, that injury against Ohio State was tough, and seeing all the Michigan players come to him, he's one of the leaders of that Michigan team in general. So Zach Zinter.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that versatility is the name of the game when it comes to offensive linemen now. And you're right, he definitely is a guard. But he is a solid run blocker. He has just a nasty streak in him, and really just loves to be violent at the point of attack. Pass protection, has great balance, holds up against a good strong bull rush by larger defenders. Strong hands, and really just does a really good job of kind of getting a hold of his blockers and maintaining that block. So yeah, no, I definitely think he's definitely somebody that's going to come out of this draft and really play an important role on a team.
Mhm.
Like I said, guard isn't a sexy position. It isn't a high demand position, but somebody's going to get a starter for years to come
Yep.
later in this draft. And Zinter is definitely a guy for an NFL team to come in. So,
Yep. Absolutely. Next up, Rod Moore. This guy's really good. Another day two guy, I think. Michigan has so many great prospects in this year's draft, man. 6 foot, 198-pound safety. Has some of the best reaction quickness in the entire class. Incredibly impressive awareness. His play speed is off the charts. He's a light-footed athlete who just oozes explosiveness and confidence, man. He's really fluid. I think he's a high football IQ and instinctual player. Recognizes routes very quickly. He's a guy that can read quarterbacks' eyes and really be aggressive to the ball. He's had some big moments this season with interceptions and things like that. Very good tackler. He doesn't have the ideal frame. He could definitely benefit from adding a little muscle at the next level, which he should. But safeties with coverage skills like him are always going to be attractive to the NFL. So I think he's a day two pick.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's definitely slowly becoming one of my, favorite safeties. He tracks the ball so well and really just has, as you said, he's a smart football player, instinctual. He seems to just always get his head around. Really does avoid penalties. But he does. He's very instinctual. He reads the routes, he anticipates the throws, and really strong in zone coverage. So yeah, no, he is definitely really, really becoming one of my favorites. As I've watched a bunch of Michigan this year, yeah, no, I really think he does a really good job in zone, and not the best man to man, but certainly not something that you're going to knock on him. But yeah, he definitely needs to get a little bit bigger. Certainly can be a little bit out muscled, but yeah, I mean that obviously comes with age and time. So yeah, I wouldn't be worried about him in the next level.
Yep. Number 7, Mike Sanderstill, 5'10", 182-pound cornerback. One of the most underrated prospects on this defense, no question about it. This guy's a straight up playmaker. Like, I can't tell you how many times I watched Michigan this year, and he's probably like the MVP or the guy that makes the big play or the big turnover. He has 5 interceptions and 3 defensive touchdowns this year. And you could go even beyond that. Like last week, he was all over the football field against Iowa. Elite versatility. He has got experience playing nickel, in the slot, on the outside, a high energy defensive back, plays with a ton of fire, always seems to be around the football. Again, the knock on him, he's small. He's a small dude. But you look at guys like Trent McDuffie, who we also called small, and knocked him down during the draft process. And he's now one of arguably the best slot defenders in the NFL, who's been terrific. So Mike Sanderstill is a great playmaker. I think he's more of a probably day 2 to day 3 guy due to that size. But any thoughts on this guy?
Yeah, his instincts are again something that stands out, and really is. You can see the recognition and the intelligence on kind of knowing the route, knowing that route tree. Seems to be able to be all over the field, change direction with ease, explosive. Has that closing speed, and really that chase down ability. Yeah, this is definitely one of those guys that I think, yeah, is probably going to get a little knocked down, and you might be right. May end up being, kind of an early day threer, but yeah, I definitely think, skill wise, speed wise, and intelligence wise, he definitely stacks up there among the best of them. So I think he's probably going to get a little overlooked, but definitely a guy that can kind of come in and maybe kind of learn the system and eventually get in there and we'll be talking about him in 5 years down the road and he's making a Pro Bowl probably. So
Yep. 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 Rolling on to number 8, Donovan Edwards, running back here. He kind of was the forgotten guy a little bit this year after being dominant in 2022 with Blake Corum. Doesn't have the eye popping stats this year. He just has 382 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, averages somewhere around like 5 to 14 carries a game. Really wasn't really heavily involved in that passing game, which kind of stinks because Donovan Edwards is really dangerous in the open field. I think his ability as a receiver is one of his biggest upsides as a prospect. He's got really soft hands. He shows a really good feel for catching and transitioning upfield in the screen game. As a runner, he runs really hard. He consistently falls forward. He's patient. He lets blocks develop. He's aggressive and willing with more enough size to like chip block or pick up blitzers. He's really good at actually picking up the blitz as well. So there's a lot, and you look at the size, I remember during the off season, when we were doing our preseason rankings, like there was some discussion about whether or not Donovan Edwards is the better NFL prospect. Didn't really get a lot of carries this year, but maybe that's a good thing. So there's not a lot of miles on those legs. So any thoughts on Donovan Edwards?
yeah, listen, he's not going to impress you with his speed. There are plenty of other running backs, that are faster, but you can tell he is just an absolute natural playmaker. And he's definitely has the explosiveness though when needed. But yeah, he is, as you said, he's an excellent blocker. I think he's definitely one of those guys that are just going to be able to, do kind of everything. Be a good runner, be patient, find those holes, be impressive in the passing game, but then also being able to pick up those blitz blockers, and especially blocking on the outside. He's just really, really, really good at that. So yeah, I definitely think patience, and just the intelligence are kind of his strengths here. But yeah, again, kind of an all you can do it kind of runner, which is kind of the runner I like, more impressive than your speedsters.
All right. Rolling on to number 9, Jalen Harrell, linebacker, edge rusher here. Big time measurable and athleticism profile here, man. He's been one of the underrated members of the Michigan defense. 7.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 27 total tackles. I think Jalen Harrell is probably a guy that would benefit from going back to school for one more year, and continuing to develop into one of the best pass rushers in college football next year. But I do think he's going to crush the draft process. Like his athleticism and things like that has all the potential to really create some buzz. Any thoughts on Jalen Harrell?
Yeah, this guy is, somebody that, like you said, probably could use a little bit more, but time in football. But again, I think if he comes out this year and he may be kind of a late bloomer, but he's a guy that has great initial burst, good quickness in that first step, and really just have kind of the strength to kind of be able to power through blocks when needed. Really good at blitzing, and can kind of overpower maybe some smaller offensive linemen, that's for sure. Good change of direction guy, really good downhill, edge rusher. So I think just overall, he's a great athlete. He's somebody that probably just needs a little bit more time, a little bit more molding, but the athleticism just flies off the page. And listen, he's probably going to be a midday 3 kind of guy, but I kind of like those guys that has the raw power and raw ability that somebody's gonna goes to the right team, man.
Yeah.
He can absolutely be a stud if molded the right way.
Yeah, I could absolutely see this guy like dominating at the Senior Bowl or something like, and really
All
create.
of a sudden, yeah, we're talking about him in the second and third round.
Yeah, you never know. All right, rolling on to finish our top 10 rankings. It is Roman Wilson, 6 foot wide receiver here. Just elite athleticism, man. In high school, Wilson had a documented 4.37 40-yard dash and a 37-inch vert. Again, he's 6 foot, 192 pounds, hyper elite explosiveness, great long speed, ridiculous short area agility. This guy is one of the best, vertical threats in this class. On the negative side, he does have some injury history. He's a bit of an older prospect at 23, and he's not a great blocker. So there are some issues, but again, yet another guy that's probably going to make some noise during the combine. Any thoughts on Roman Wilson?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's somebody that you're absolutely right, man. Deep threat, 20, 30, 40 plus yards down the field. This is your guy. He tracks the ball really well down the field, has good hands, good ball skills, and is one of those guys where you can tell that, man, he absolutely knows how to get right to the high point, and get those contested catches. Those hands are extremely strong, and really does have a good sense of timing, with his routes and using those hands. But listen, he's unfortunately in a class that is extremely deep and extremely talented.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to kind of get pushed way back.
Yeah.
But again, he has those skills that can absolutely become a problem for defenders in the next level. And again, I think he needs to maybe work a little bit. Trying to fighting off press coverage, seems to sometimes spend a little too much time engaged, rather than getting around. But again, he's gonna, he can definitely become a guy for a team. But man, this class is so deep. It's hard to kind of see through it all. But yeah, I like Wilson a lot. I'm definitely going to be kind of rooting for him at the back end of this wide receiver class. It's going to be tough.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's like a route tree away from being a really, really good prospect. Definitely something to keep an eye on. That wraps up our top 10 Michigan prospects. Be on the lookout for our show covering Washington and Alabama and Texas. We'll be breaking it down as we get ready for bowl season. Ryan, where can we find you, man? Final thoughts.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Philly Sports PSA, Facebook, Philly Sports Alliance, YouTube, of course. But I'm obviously all over Edge of Philly Sports. Obviously, if you didn't check out our show 10 minutes ago, please make sure you go back and check out Party on Broad. Also, Birds of the Round Table tomorrow. Check that out as we're going to dissect this San Francisco loss and talk a little bit more about Dallas Cowboys. But yeah, make sure that you are following Edge of Philly Sports, YouTube, Facebook, the whole 9 yards, and make sure you follow this guy because again, we do this show every week. But man, this guy's put in so much hard work. And honestly, it's amazing how you have time to even eat, much less have a life. But if you want to know anything about any prospect, I'm telling you, he's done a video about him. It's out on Edge of Philly Sports YouTube. Go searching for it. Honestly, all you really have to do is probably just Google it, and his video will come up. So, do yourself a favor, get involved in the draft, man. This is such a fun process. I absolutely love it. It's so much better when you're aware of players and not just the top 10 guys. I'm talking go deep, get involved in a position and just go deep into it. It's so much fun. But yes, this is the guy to absolutely follow for all of your draft needs.
Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, it's been fun doing the college football season this year. I put out anywhere from like 5 to 10 winners of the week every single week. And here we are. I think we're now week 14, something like that. I'm not sure. Getting ready for Army versus Navy. But I'm not sure what that's going to look like. We've been starting our positional rankings pre-combine, which has been really fun. So I'll probably continue with that. And there's going to be so much more that these things will be churning and being repurposed into with highlight reels. And I haven't even started that yet. So that's going to be a whole thing in itself. So be on the lookout for that. We will be covering the top 10 linebackers next. Is not a great class, but Brian will be excited. And if you're an Eagles fan watching this, the Eagles need linebackers. So we'll be deep diving into those, as well as I think number 2 is that Washington, I think? Yep. So we'll be doing our top 10 Washington prospects. And there's a lot of good ones on there too. So that'll be a good show as well. So he is Ryan Reese at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dives, Mr. Crockpot. We'll catch you on the next Party on Broad. For Ryan, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.